Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So in this one, I really wanted to pose a question. Should the New York Jets try to pursue a trade with the Chicago Bears involving Nick Foles? I've seen arguments for it. I've seen arguments against it. I can't wait to see your thoughts down below in the comment section, and where do you think, or what you think the Jets should really do with this backup quarterback position, because obviously it's still an issue. I don't feel 100%, 1000% comfortable going into the season with just James Morgan and Mike White. Neither of those guys are veteran quarterbacks to begin with. So with that being said, let's jump in. So we've actually talked a lot about adding this backup veteran quarterback to the roster, especially because Zach Wilson is a rookie quarterback at the end of the day. And on top of that, Robert Saleh is a first-time head coach, Mike LaFleur is a first-time offensive coordinator, and Jeff Ulbrich is a first-time full-time defensive coordinator. Obviously, he spent some time as an interim DC last year, but all in all, this is a pretty young football team. There's going to be a lot of rookies contributing, and it's a pretty young coaching staff, right? It's a pretty inexperienced group, so common sense would tell you it makes sense to add a backup veteran quarterback that has seen a lot of football, that has had maybe some ups, he's had some downs, he's been a part of successful teams, he's been a part of a couple bad teams as well. He's been there, done that. So you're starting to look at the free agent market first and foremost, because obviously that would be the preferred route, because then you don't have to give up a draft pick or anything like that. But this room is slowly drying up. Jeff Driscoll recently signed with the Houston Texans. Tyrod Taylor, Houston Texans. CJ Beathard, Jacksonville Jaguars. Brian Hoyer, New England Patriots. Okay, so these guys are slowly but surely, Kurt Benkert, Green Bay Packers. These guys are slowly going off the board here. It's starting to really look like slim pickings for the New York Jets for this role specifically. Of course, there's Nick Mullins, who I feel like would be a huge upgrade. I feel like that would be really beneficial, fits the system, has spent time with Mike LaFleur. We've talked a lot about Nick Mullins. RG3, maybe? I don't know. I just feel like this market right now, it's shrinking, and it's shrinking fast. So it begs the question, are there any backup veteran quarterbacks that are currently out there on another team? And the first person that comes to mind is Nick Foles. It's Nick Foles. I mean, you look at the Bears quarterback situation. They signed Andy Dalton. They already announced that he was going to be the starting quarterback of the team. Andy even said that in a press conference. Then you trade up to go get Justin Fields. I just feel like Nick Foles is kind of the odd man out at this point in time. I mean, I really feel like the only way Nick Foles sees playing time with the Bears is if Andy Dalton is horrible, and if Justin Fields isn't really progressing the way the team wants him to. He just isn't really developing. So all in all, the chance of Nick Foles actually seeing playing time this season in Chicago is really slim, which now opens the door for a potential trade. Could Joe Douglas pick up the phone and give Ryan Pace a call to try to acquire Nick Foles? He's 6'6", 240 pounds, 32 years old, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year. Let's be honest, not that good, right? There's a reason why Nick Foles is the odd man out in Chicago, but I'll say this. If you're looking for backup veteran options, Nick Foles is probably the best one out there. He's the best one that's actually realistic to acquire because he's had so much success, a Super Bowl championship with the Philadelphia Eagles, which, by the way, was with Joe Douglas. He's had crazy statistical seasons, right? Even like his early days with the Eagles, but he's bounced around from team to team to team. Eagles, Rams, who else? Chiefs, back to the Eagles, Jacksonville Jaguars, Chicago Bears. So Nick Foles has seen his fair share of defenses, his fair share of NFL offenses, and he's been in competitions. He's been the backup before. He's been the starter before. He's had a lot of pressure. He's had no pressure. Nick Foles is the definition of a veteran quarterback, and that's really enticing, especially because you have the whole Joe Douglas connection as well. But we're looking at the contract, okay? You can't talk about Nick Foles without talking about the contract. Obviously, he signed that massive mega deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars, gets traded to Chicago, and then ends up restructuring his contract so it's not this ginormous, monstrosity. He's a $6.6 million cap hit in 2021, and then that number shoots up to $10.6 million in 2022. So from a financial point of view, Nick Foles is actually pretty affordable. And another thing that I want to make a note of, we don't know how bad the Bears want to get rid of Nick Foles. If they are like hitting the panic button, like we need to get rid of this guy, we need to dump his contract, we want the roster spot, whatever the case may be, we want Foles gone, then there's an opportunity for Joe Douglas to pick up the phone and say, hey, we'll trade for Nick Foles. We'll give you a draft pick, but you have to take a third of that contract. You have to eat half of Nick Foles' deal. There's a chance that could happen. Okay, so even like on the surface, Nick Foles is affordable, but there's an opportunity that could bring Foles' numbers down even more, I think it's definitely something that Joe Douglas has to, inquire about, look into. Okay, if, of course, he doesn't feel comfortable signing an injured Nick Mullins or a Robert Griffin III or, another possible veteran free agent. Because at the end of the day, Nick Foles is still a big arm, big body quarterback that has seen a lot of NFL success and also a lot of NFL failures, which will only help Zach Wilson in his development, which at the end of the day is the number one priority. It's the number one goal. And then, of course, if Zach Wilson were to go down, we have somebody that can come in, step in, win games, and look pretty good. So bottom line is this: Nick Foles to the Jets at face value makes a lot of sense. The Jets can afford him. He's the odd man out in Chicago. There's a chance that the Bears really just want to push Foles out the door and will do whatever it takes. They'll maybe accept a lower offer. Maybe they'll eat some of his contract, whatever. And the Jets obviously have a need for a veteran backup quarterback on the roster. So everything is looking really good here. Okay, everything is looking good. The only downside to this is that the Jets would have to give up a draft pick, which, is always, for me personally, tough to part ways with, especially because the Jets are such a young team, and I really want to replenish the team with talent. Get Joe Douglas's guys in the building. Now, if it only takes a 6th round pick, a 7th round pick, a 5th round pick, I'm cool with it. I'm 100% cool with it. But if the Bears are asking for a 2nd, a 3rd, or even a 4th, I'm like, it's a little high. That's a little high. I mean, a 4th round pick is debatable, but anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Would you like the Jets to try to go out and acquire Nick Foles? Would you opt for the guys on the roster? Do you want to try to go out and sign Nick Mullins? Is he healthy enough to play? Maybe a Robert Griffin III? Who knows? I'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.